Hey guys. Whoa, that's not good at all for the microphone. Mic. Mic up. Hello, hello. No, other way. Right. Hello. There. Wait. Hey guys. Okay, there you go. We're back with another episode of Taco Imposters for July 20th. Wednesday, July 20th, 2022. I was looking at because I had set up all my games under my desk. Because in my room, I have my computer on my desk, and I have two monitors. Well, I have a monitor, and then I have a, what do you call it? A TV. My mom's friend gave to me for free. So I was like, I'm not going to turn down a TV. It's not the best monitor. It's really weird for using a TV as a computer monitor, but it works for what I wanted to do. Want to do with it, so I'm fine with it. But, what's it called? Right, and then for the longest time, I had nowhere to put like all my game consoles. And then I got a Switch for Christmas, the Christmas that just passed. And I had nowhere. I was like, I don't know if I want to use this. And then I put up my Switch. I didn't know if I was going to use it on a TV. And I put it up on a TV, and I was like, oh, that works. Good. Because I got in the TV like last summer, about June last summer. And then I got the Switch in Christmas, and I was like, okay, great. That's why I have the place there. Anyway, so under there is all this stuff, all these video games. So now I have a. Let me look and show you what I have, or tell you what I have. I'll go from like oldest to newest. I have the Atari 2600. I have a Genesis. Sorry, 2600. I have a Nintendo Entertainment System. I have a Sega Genesis. I have an N64, and I have a PS. No, I have a Xbox 360. I have a PS3 that's just downstairs being used as a Blu-ray player. PS3. I have a PS2. I don't know if it works. If anybody knows how to diagnose PS2s, let me know on Discord. I'll leave the links Discord in the description, or email me. The link to that's also in the description. So, yeah, So, and because I never played these very often anyway. And it's not like I should be playing more video games, right? So I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, if somebody asked me what I did today, I'd be like, I put up my video games, or yesterday or today, whatever. I put my video games together right under my desk. Also, I have a splitter. Thing fell again. Dang it. Okay, well, I can set it up better, I guess. Anyway, I have a splitter. It's only two inputs. But I have this weird, like, octopus cable that's got one input. But these are all component cables, so RCA. So, like, red, white, and gold, yellow. And they have three in, and then it goes into, or three female, and then one male out. And I thought I could use them simultaneously. Obviously, I didn't think of this when I bought it. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. But if I don't play them simultaneously, I have three inputs, technically. So, yeah, so like I was saying, it's not that I should be playing more video games, but I should be getting my money's worth kind of thing, right? If you want to use that the saying, like, I won't get my money's worth. Because I didn't buy the Genesis, the Atari, or the Xbox 360. I traded them. So I traded my Game Boy Advance SP for a Atari 2600, which I thought was a decent trade. Now that I think back, I'm like, people were telling me, and my brother was like, what did you do? And I'm like, what's so wrong with this? I don't think it's that bad. And he's like, okay, well, I mean, it's your device. Thanks for... He kind of had this, like, thanks for nothing, kind of, because he wanted to trade Pokemon. I mean, look, I chose it myself. Look, what do I care? Right? I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying necessarily, but I don't think it's good or bad necessarily. I just think I got it. I personally think it was a fine trade. Then I traded my Super Nintendo for a Xbox 360 and my original Xbox for a for my Genesis. I traded. These are all done last summer, and to be honest with you, right? I don't know if the trades were all, super fair, but I mean, to me, I didn't have a problem with them. I thought they were fine. So that's just my opinion on the matter. And then I was looking at my like Xbox 360 games, right? And I was like, because he gave me like a bunch, maybe he gave me like 5, 6, maybe even 10. I don't remember. He's like, I just have a bunch of random games, just take them all. And I'm like, okay, good. And then I got Sonic 2 for Genesis, and then the Atari gave me, I think, 3, 4 games. Let me look at what the games were. They were, I think, Asteroids. Let me just look quickly. I think it was Defender, Asteroids. There was 4. Defender, Asteroids. Oh, that's what it was. Defender, Asteroids, Pinball, and Miss Pac-Man. Those were the 4 he gave me. And honestly, they're great games to start with. And then I got like Berserk. I got Vanguard. I got real sports baseball or baseball. Real sports baseball, and then I got the football game, but the one that you look like stormtroopers on like in the sea. You know the one where it's a 2-player only. I didn't know it was 2-player only at the time. I didn't realize like, oh, that's the one that's 2-player only. Okay, which is not bad. I can play with people. I can find people to play with it. I'm sure I could. Anyway, I was looking at the Xbox 360 games, and I realized, like, I just looked at all of them. I can look and can tell you basically all the ones that I have. Look. I mean, I got the kind of crappy ones that nobody wants, like NHL 08 or whatever, and like the good one that I think is the best one that I would play is a Simpsons game, although it doesn't want to read very well. Then I got Assassin's Creed, the America's Collection, which has got Assassin's Creed, Liberation HD, Assassin's Creed 3, and then Black Flag, but only one of the Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag. Only 2 of these are on the disc, correct? And one is a download, which I think I did download. Oh, I also kept Halo from the Xbox. But anyway, I believe. Oh no, disc 1, Assassin's Creed 3 disc 2, and then this one is the other game, right? Yeah, Black Flag. Yeah. I should probably play Black Flag. And then I got Liberations. Yeah, I downloaded Liberations, and the servers are still up to let me download it. So, and then I have Darksiders, Fable 3, Dragon's Dogma, the Outfit. I think I have something like 3 armies or something, something like that. And I got one other one that was not. Oh, that dogfighting game. Oh, what's it called? It's like Angels, not Blue Angels, but like. Was it World War I? I think, or is it 2? No, I think it's 1. Flying game. Anyway, don't remember what it is. But I was just like contemplating. I was thinking. I had not a revelation per se, but I had like a lot of people could find that the Xbox 360 is one of those systems that, no offense, I like the Xbox 360. I like the controller. I got a wired controller for my PC. And I was just like, yeah, this is great. I love this controller. This is amazing. Because it's really good. But, like, the only problem is, right, if you don't find the good games, right, the games like, oh, these are great, you'll think the system is, I don't think you'll necessarily, or everybody will necessarily think that the game system is bad, per se. But you'll definitely hit that, like, oh, okay, this is just a system? Oh, okay. Yeah, they hit that, like, that's it? Oh, okay. Not that it's bad. It's just kind of, you'd be like, I don't really care for it. Which is kind of what I felt when I got it. I'm like, I don't really care. Because the thing, I got one about 10 years. 10 to 12, maybe 15 years after it still had its peaks and it's like, you know, its peak. After it's like big peak and everybody's playing it, it was great. So, because you know what the weird thing was? No, I think, okay, because I was going to say, I asked people, right, when I was contemplating getting a video game system. I was like, what, 8 years old or 10 years old or something? 9 years old, maybe. And I was like, because there's 2 than 8, so I would have been 9 years old. You can do the math to find how old I am. Anyway, and it was like, what do I get? Because PS3 or a Wii, a PS3 or a Wii, or PS3 or a Wii. And I think it was because it's because I only asked for 2 things. I only gave me what I asked for. Which one should I buy, right? Because I was like, but they never even brought up the whole subject of the Xbox 360. And everybody I knew had an Xbox 360. They didn't have a PS3. So I was like, why are you telling me the PS3? But they knew a lot about it. They were like, you got to get the right one. You got to get the one that runs PS2 games natively. You've got to get the good one. It's got to be this gigabyte model. And then just, I didn't get it. I got the Wii, which I'm kind of happy about because I love Nintendo way more. Well, I'm starting to, what's it called, warm up to the idea, like to the rest of these systems. Because I'm like, because I got a PS3 for my birthday one year, and I was like, this thing is like really nice, like really nice. And I was like, do I like it more than the? Well, I gotta okay. Do I like it more than like the N64, which was my favorite system at the time? I also had a PS2, and I think it's my second favorite system, just based on how many games I can pull out and still play to this day. Whereas the like PS3, it's like, okay, there are great games on it, but the only problem is, will I want? Like my brother made the point. He said because he was talking with his friend who had a PS3, I believe, and went because it was me, my brother, and his friend who were like talking, having a conversation, and or we were in the same thing, and then he brought up, well, what's this? And I'm like, oh, I won a game online because I won PlayStation All Stars Battle Royale, whatever that thing's called, the Smash ripoff, and it's actually not that bad a game, really. To be honest, it's not great. I won it online because if you know I think I've said this before. If you know the podcast, the YouTube channel that used to exist, used to make videos called Z Button with Casey Beckler and Ryan Chambers. They used to make videos, so they did that one-off. They had a one-off thing where they did things called one and dones, right? So they had these one and dones, which were just doing it once and then that's it. And one of them was they played that game, Battle Royale All Stars, PlayStation Superstars Battle All Stars Battle Royale All Stars Superstars, whatever it's called. And then they said they were, I didn't know they were serious, but they were like, if anybody wants this, they had this like attitude of like, if everybody wants this, just leave it in the comments. You can have it free. And I'm like, I'll take it. Although I didn't have a PS3 at the time yet, I'll take it. And they were just like, yeah, okay. They emailed me, send your email. What's contact? And I'm like, this is happening. I get a free game. I'm like, yeah. We don't want this. This thing is awful. We're never gonna play it again. I'm like, okay, well, so technically I won. I don't know if you call it winning or just, I guess it's like a giveaway. I don't know. How do you explain it? Anyway, so that's why I got that year. And I'm like, I like this, but like my brother and his friend were both kind of saying the same kind of like, yeah, what are you gonna do? He's gonna want to play, Far Cry 4 if it's a series where there's like 700 of them. Not 700, but you know what I mean, like 2,000, let's say. Let's say that series ends up having like 2,000. That's 24 games. Who's gonna care about 7 or 17 or 12 or 11? Right? It's like the Final Fantasy series. No offense to people who love Final Fantasy. Are you really going to go back to play, like... I know 6, yes, because of the whole, like... The one on Super Nintendo, because, like, oh, it's so great, it's amazing, or is it NES? No, Super Nintendo. Right? But I'm saying, like, are you going to go care about, like, Final Fantasy X over, like, Final Fantasy 7 or over Final Fantasy whatever? Just, pick a number. Or, like... the Far Cry games, or Halo, or Call of Duty, or Battlefield, or what's the one called? It's gonna use the the Elder Scrolls. Like, really? Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, right? Elder Scrolls Skyrim, right? Yeah. So Elder Scrolls, right? I'm not gonna care about them. And that's the problem. But again, you could say that with every system, right? You could say with every system. The thing that I thought about just now, I was like, and this is what prompted me to do this episode of the podcast. I was like, look, okay, no offense, but you could do it with every system. You could say, if you don't find the right games, every system sounds like crap, sounds like garbage. Like, I don't really care. Like, I don't really care. Like, it's just okay. They're not great. Because you didn't find that game that was like, yes, this is amazing. It's going to be fantastic, and it makes me want to play all the time, and I want to find more games. Because that's the thing. Not everybody gets that, like, hit of, I want to try this system, and then, like, gets deeply invested into that system. Like, I want to buy all the games for PS3. I want to buy it now. I need it now. It needs to be I want to find all of them. I want to find good games. I want to look at all the walls. I want to go to the what do you call it? Retro video game stores and look at the walls and be like, or the whatever floors, bins, however you set it up, and be like, yeah, I'm gonna look at all of them and find a game. No, not everybody does that. I'm glad I didn't pay for all 3 of those, because if I did, you'd be for all 3 of those different systems, you're paying each. Well, maybe the cheapest one would have been the Genesis, but even that's not cheap. It's like $50 or so. And so for me, I'm like, yikes, $50 to $100. The other ones are all like in the hundreds. I think a working Xbox 360 is still worth like $100 or so, or something like that. I don't know. I haven't looked at like the prices. I can look at price charting actually. Looks like a price charting. Right? So, like, right? And so they're all fairly expensive. Like, because it's old, they think it has value for the what's it called one? I'm looking for Xbox 360 specifically. Hello? A Slim console. No. Fine, we'll do the Halo. Well, sorry, we'll do the 256 gig one. I don't care. I just want to know general idea. Yeah, see, slim model, holiday bundle. No, if you don't want just a slim model, nah, $80, $83. You want a slim model console? Oh, Japanese one, the American one's 52. 52. Okay, so it's not $100. If you got the holiday bundle, it'll be $100. Okay, because I have the slim one, the like better one that doesn't have nearly as many problems. Although they still have problems, they're just not nearly as bad. Anyway. Oh, I do have to look at the other ones, right? And then the Genesis, I think, is the cheapest. I still think the Genesis is cheap. And so, like, for me, it's like, I didn't want to pay for all this. I'm like, I'm never going to. No, because I knew I wouldn't have gotten my money. I knew I would have immediately thought, oh my god, I just wasted my money, right? Kind of thing. Like, I just don't care about this at all. Like, not that it's bad, but I just don't care. I don't know. Is it a Model 1? I'm confused. I don't know if it's a Model 1 or Model 2. I think it's a Model 1. Yeah, even Model 1, $53. I think it's a Model 1, I believe. Yes. Yes. Yes, it's Model 1. And then, let's look at the last one, which is the Atari 2600. Although these are not the best references for price charting. No. But, the system. Right? Oh, you son of a dingus. Heavy sixer, right? $120. You see that? Average, loose, $120. Like, that's the one that holds. I don't know what that means, the difference in, like, there's a CX 2600A. Not juniors, it's a heavy sixer. I know it's a heavy sixer. It's a nice one. It's actually really nice. Because there's a, like, regular sixer, and then there's a heavy sixer. And then there's like a junior, and then there's, like, a 4, and there's a Vader, which is 4 but black. So there's knobs on the, I don't know if you know, but if there's knobs on the, for like the settings and whatnot on a Atari 2600, there's ones with 6, that's light, the one with 6, that's heavy, so it's got more like mass and more actual, like, probably just like lead bars or something in it that make it heavier. Then there's 4, and then 4 that's regular color, and 4 that's white. Oh, sorry, that's black, what they call Vader. It's not actually called Vader, but, like, officially, but that's what people have started calling it. Anyway. Yeah, so. Also, these are all the things that, like, because none of the people that I ever watched for, like, retro gaming ever, like, got up to, like, Xbox 360, really. I mean, the Video Game Nerd kind of touched upon them. And then you had people who were touching upon, like, Wii U and, like, 360 and PS3 kind of era stuff, but not really. They all, like, stuck to stuff like PS2 and beforehand. Which isn't bad. Xbox, original Xbox, PS2, and anything before that. So these are all the systems where, like, at least the Genesis and the Atari are like, oh, yeah. These are systems that, like, I, like, want because I'm like, oh, these are the things I've heard about so much and I've always wanted to play them. Like the Genesis. I've always wanted to play the Genesis just because the Genesis, at least for me, was the first system that I ever played. I've told this story before. It's the first game I can remember playing, ever. Where I was like, this is the first game I've ever played, and I'm like, and when I played it, I remember thinking, like, whatever this is, I didn't get it at the time, because I was like, what, 4 or 5, maybe 6, and I was like, now, I might have played video games, like, computer games before that, I've said that before, and I might have played, like, because this was at my dentist, and then there was at an orthodontist, so I might have played at an orthodontist, the N64, but I don't think so. I believe if I can, the earliest memories of video games that I can remember are playing Sonic 2 on Genesis. And so that's where, like, I like the Genesis. That's the only game I can remember, like, because it was one of those, like, plexiglass. It looked almost kiosk-like. It wasn't a kiosk, but it was almost kiosk-like, and it was behind, like, glass, I think. If I'm not mistaken. But I vividly remember, or not glass, but like plexiglass or whatever, like a piece of plastic or something. But I vividly remember like being able to turn it on and turn it off. Actually, no, I don't. No, I don't. Now I think about it, no, I don't. I think there might have been like a button that extended into like a reset button, and then that was it. I think that might have been what it was. Because I don't remember it ever turning off, actually, now that I think about it. And some reason I feel like I remember being able to turn it off on the controller, but I know that's not right at all. But I remember vivid memories of like turning it off on a controller somehow. I don't remember what I did. Because I remember not being able to take out the game, physically touch the game, but I remember being able to like reset. So maybe I remember there's just like they created a box that let me reset it somehow. And then the second is like very, very briefly and very vaguely, I remember playing the original Mario Land on Game Boy. I think it was Game Boy Color. I think it was Game Boy Color. Or it was Game Boy Pocket. I think it might have been Game Boy Pocket. And they just, remember they said, hey, while you're doing your whatever, you want something to play. And I was like, you know, again, 4, 5, 6 years old. I was like, oh, okay. And I played the Mario game, and I remember that. It was great. Because this was a guy, like a children's dentist, like a full, not a dentist that did children, like a purely children's dentist. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so. And then, I've told this story before, but then I remember being like, whatever this is, I want it. And then I remember looking around and just being like baffled as to like, wait, and that's still like one of the first instances, memories I can remember, like realizing, oh wait, everything doesn't exist all at the same time. I remember that. I was just like, what? Right? I was like, what? Everything doesn't exist all at once? Like, because I not only remember that, like, video games. I just remember that in everything I ever saw. Ever. I was like, wait. Whether it was a toy that I liked, or a movie I enjoyed, or a book I wanted to read, or anything of that nature, I was just like... Although books wasn't that bad, because books always had that, like... I could go to a library and find it, right? I could find it if I really, really wanted to. But, it was like the movies, or the music, or the video games, or the toys, or the, like, outdoor activity stuff, or, you know, if somebody had it, I just was like, and I remember it, like, baffling my tiny mind. I'm like, my young, feeble mind, I'm like, this doesn't, like, I can't just get this? These don't exist all at once? I can't just have this? And it's like, no. Like, no, I guess not. Because I remember I think I went to Walmart, and I think I went to Toys R Us. And I may have gone to, like, something like a Best Buy, or something of that kind of nature at that time, or like a Zellers when that was around, if you know Zellers. I don't know if that's only a Canadian thing. Because to me, Zellers was always, like, the, like, bargain equivalent to, like, Target. If Target... It was always the bargain brand Walmart. It was always like the dollar store version of Walmart. It was like Dollarama, if you know Dollarama in Canada. I don't know if it's in the rest of the world. And then like the Dollar Tree, or like the Dollar General, or like the dollar, or like the 99-cent store, right? Or like the Five Below kind of place, you know? Like that, like there's the brand, and then there's like whatever. So that's what Zellers was to me. I like Zellers a lot because I think it was the first Tuesday of every month it had like a special. It was that was like something like 15% off or 30% off. I don't remember exactly what it was. I remember doing it a lot. And just being like, oh, I can buy a lot now because it's like, oh, it's just a special. Anyway. And I just remember walking into like at least 2 stores. At least like, I know it was Walmart. And then I don't remember if it was Walmart and Toys R Us, or Walmart and Zellers, or Walmart, Toys R Us and Zellers. Anyway. Also, Toys R Us still exists in Canada. That's surprising to me. He went back, but then again, Toys R Us exists in Canada. It went bankrupt in the U.S. It's not that that Target went bankrupt in Canada, but they tried to come into Canada, and they never went into the black, and so they're always in the red, and they said, no, this is stupid. Go home. That was dumb. Anyway, because I was supposed to take over Zellers, and it never did. Really. I mean, it kind of did, but not really. I liked it a lot. I liked Target a lot. But I never actually ended up doing, like, going there a lot. Anyway, and so I remember just walking into a store and going, where are these things? Like, why can't I just have them? And that would have been about around the time of, like, yeah, PS3, PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, Wii. No, a little bit before Wii, actually. A little bit before Wii. So it would have been PS2 probably era still. So, like, probably 2005, 2006, so maybe, I think it was right before the PS, or whatever. I think one of the three of those had come out already, not the Wii, though. And so I remember thinking, like, also, my group of people, my neck of the woods, my area of the world, we, like, not my area of the world, but my area of people didn't get the Wii until, like, about 2008. So anyway, I remember that, just being like, these don't exist all at once? So all this to say, right, you can have that problem where you don't find games and you think that the thing is terrible, right? The thing is terrible. The system is terrible in any game system, whether it be PC, Xbox Series X, what's it called? PS5, down all the way to the first video game system ever that used cartridges. Which I always think, whenever somebody talks about the first video game that uses cartridges, they always talk about the Fairchild Channel F, right? And I'm like, but didn't the original Odyssey use cartridges? But I guess it didn't, have the games built onto the cartridges. It was more of this thing that, like, changed the logic based on what you had connected. Because I think I remember, like, looking it up and, like, technically it's not considered a game on that card. It's like, you're just changing the logic based on what you put in. I'm not an engineer on that level, that's electrical engineer, you know, on circuit boards, we'll see, circuits and all that, so I don't know, like, I don't know exactly what it means, but that's what I've gathered from it. Anyway, so yeah, all the way up down to, like, that you can find that, like, if they're not good, you just don't want to play them. Because I have, the newest game system I have is a Switch. And there are times when I'm like, why do I have this? I don't like it. And then there are other times that I'm like, this is actually amazing. Then there are times that I'm like, the opposite, in the complete opposite direction, where I have the Atari 2600 and I go, why do I have this? I don't want this. I don't play it. I don't need it. And then it's like, other times I'm like, this is really good. Like, this is, like, really good. Like, really good. Like, really good. And I do this every system. Every so often I'll pull out a game and I'll be like, that's why I own this system. And that's just video games in my opinion. Now, you could have your opinions on video games are a waste of time and useless and all that stuff. And I don't think it's, like, the worst thing ever. I do think, like everything though, I do think that if you abuse it in, like, you're addicted and you don't use it in moderation and you don't have a healthy boundary towards it, it becomes bad. But is it inherently awful to play video games? Is it one of those things where, like, you know, oh, you shouldn't play this because, you know, you're wasting your life away? It's like, I don't think so. I don't know. Then again, those same exact kind of people who say that will be the old, no, I'm not going to say the old farts or the old geezers or the boomers, but I'm saying the baby boomers, but I'm saying, like, your parents or your grandparents or your uncles or your aunts, people, like, a generation or two above you who are like, oh, that's a bunch of baloney. But they'll watch movies. They'll watch their days away with movies or TV shows or sports or the news or whatever, right? Or doom scrolling on, you know, it's your middle-aged mom doom scrolling on Facebook going, you know, oh, you're wasting your life away. It's like, ma, or whoever this is, right? So are you. Because it was the thing where it was like, I saw a commercial for something. I think it was Cadbury, actually. And it was like, if you enjoy what you're doing while you're quote-unquote wasting time, is time really wasted? But the actual quote was, if you enjoy wasting time, is time really wasted? And I said, well, no. If you enjoy what you're doing while you're quote-unquote wasting time, is time really wasted? Right? Like, if you get addicted to, like, time waster video games, like, just full-on, like, you really like these time wasters. Not addicted in a, I'm just addicted and I don't even like it, I just can't stop it. No, I'm saying, like, you actually really love this thing and you're really into it and you're, like, addicted, you know, quote-unquote addicted, right? Right? And you really enjoy it. Let's take a game that's, like, actually useless, like a cookie clicker or a clicker game, right? but it's amusing to you, and you like to think. Like, there was, like, a mayonnaise clicker that I remember. There's one video that Markiplier made once, and it was just, like, he enjoyed it just because of how random the, like, outfits and the things that it said. It's just weird. There's nothing to the game. It's just click. But somehow... And then there's auto clickers, and it's like, what? Wow, okay. But but he enjoyed it because it was just amusing to him, right? He's never going to play it again. It was a mobile game, but he's amused about it. Or, like, right? Or I was going to say it was like a Gario type of game, but at least those have, like, a beat someone and win. Anyway. So, yeah, what was I saying? Yeah, so, so it's time really wasted, right? Because there was an article, I was listening to the Completely Unnecessary podcast, CU podcast, and Pat and Ian were talking about, or pulled up like an article, and they were going to talk about an article, and they talked about an article, and it was like, I don't remember which website, one of those, like, Vogue, or not Vogue, not Vanity Fair, what's the one? The Verge, that's it, or The Wire, or something like that, right? Or one of those, like, video games, I don't remember, but anyway, and you're wasting your time on video games, and I'm like, but are you though? But or retro video games are a waste of everyone's time, and nobody should play them, and I was like, yeah, but if you enjoy it, right, well, then you get into I was going to say if you enjoy it, it's a wasting time, but then you get into that whole, like, what's it called, problem of, like, or thing of, like, should we just do things we enjoy? Like, that's just life. And it's like, not exactly. I don't think that's all life is. It's not just, find everything that you enjoy. Right? Because then there's so many people in the world who will never find what they enjoy, and you end up with this, like, you end up with the problem of people going, well, then these people are never going to find what they enjoy because nobody went and helped them out of whatever slum they were in. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, like, to me, that article was very clickbaity. It had very little to do with, like, old video games. But what it was saying was, stop, like, relying on the old video games to, like, be your brand of the, like, console. Because he was talking about how on the Xbox One, there wasn't a lot of games coming out for the Xbox One. So Microsoft was like, okay, let's, like, really focus on this, like, let's harbor into this, let's, like, hone into, things like backwards compatibility with games. And, like, loads of games are backwards compatible. I remember that. That was, like, really, like, whoa, okay. And then there was, like, this, and then there was this, the whole, like, by the end of it, it was like, not Stadia, what's it called? Not Street Pass, Game Pass. Microsoft Game Pass was really, like, pushed because there weren't exactly a lot of games being put out for Xbox. I'm sorry, I'm going to say that right now. Right? And I'm not saying that's a bad thing per se, but yeah. And then the guy in the article, whoever wrote it, because there was no name attached to it, it was just, I tried playing, I was excited when I heard of backwards compatibility, and I'm like, okay, great. For the Xbox One, and then I played it. I tried a game, and it was awful, And then Ian brings up the saying, it doesn't age well. It's like, yeah, some of them don't age well, but that's just your opinion on what you feel about these games being played on like an Xbox One, let's say. Most people, it's fine enough. They don't care. It was Xbox 360 and original Xbox games, and then they just made Game Pass and decided, hey, we can make a subscription service out of it. Which, let's be honest here, what would you rather do? Have all these games be playable on the system, or just stream all these games? Stream, quote-unquote stream, right? Netflix style, right? I'm sure most people would be like, oh, well, Netflix style, stream it, right? Because also, Pat brought up the point of, like, yeah, well, it's not like these games can't be played again, right? That's the kind where it's like, at least those games can be played again, right? The systems aren't gone. So if you don't like it, don't play it. But because you also bring up the point of, like, oh, at that point then, if that's your big thing you're selling it for, and there's not a lot of games on the new system, what's the point? You've based that system on the fact that it can play old games, or, like, it's a very big part of it. I don't know. Because it's not like PC where when you find something on Steam, when you find something on good old games, when you find something on Epic Game Store, when you find something on whatever, whether it, be one of those, what are those ones called? Like the game company launchers, like Bethesda's and, Activision and Bethesda. Yeah, Bethesda. Blizzard owns Bethesda, right? Or is that Microsoft that owns Bethesda? Or did they buy Activision and Blizzard? I think they did. Anyway, I think they're all under the same thing now. Anyway, under the same company, Microsoft. Anyway, or it's EA or it's a Ubisoft, right? And they have old games that you can play. It's not the same thing per se. I mean, it's not bad. But I'm just saying it's not the same thing in the sense that it's not. It's not where it's like you couldn't, or there's a possibility you can't play that game again on like Windows 10 or Windows 11 or Mac or Linux, right? You just can't play them. Like, but if you find them on these services, like even the like Steam or Good Old Games or Epic Store, because even what was I gonna say? Oh no, even like what was I gonna say? I don't remember, but anyway, yeah, so you can't play. They can't not easily playable, right? So it's not the same thing, right? I don't know. I was gonna say something, but no, I don't remember. Anyway, so yeah, so it's not the same thing as like that. That's where it's like, okay, this is just not playable anymore. I've tried doing it. I ran a them, which is real. Okay, that's what really gets me really mad. I set up an old XP machine so I could play the games I played as a child, and half of them just didn't work. Or like there was a significant percentage amount of them that just didn't work, and I'm like, but this is exactly how I played them as a child. I don't get it. Like the one that pees me off the most is Lego chess, right? I got it running like. I got like a Dutch version, I think, running in like 2016 or 17. Because I had run the game on again and I got it and I found it and I was like, okay, great. And I downloaded it off of the internet. I don't condone that, but right? I pirated it. I cracked it. Anyway, well, not cracked, I pirated it. Anyway, but that's a game that's old enough, so I don't think it's that bad. Anyway, right? I got that running. So I was like, okay, great. And then years later, I was like, oh, let me see if I can run this again. So I tried 2 different ways. I know exactly what I did. I didn't run it on that. I ran it on my laptop through a virtual machine. That's what. And then I tried running it again on this computer, and it just didn't work. I'm like, but this is exactly the disk I used as a child. This is exactly the system I used as a child. Is it because it's a different version of Windows, like Windows, whatever? It's a license. It's a not a broad license. What is it called? User license. What's it called when it's like a what's a word when it's a multiple license? Like an office license? What do you call it? Anyway, multiple licenses for Windows. What is it called? What are multiple licenses for Windows called? Volume licenses, that's it, right? When you're like a business, right? Volume licenses, that's what I'm thinking of. So volume licenses, what, because of volume license? I don't get it. Like, I just don't get it. Like, what the heck? It just baffled my mind. Then I tried it on virtual machine again with the exact disc and playing, like, is it because it's playing through a disc it's like, through virtual machine? Can I not download it? I don't get it. And then it asks for a key, and it asks for CD, and I'm like, but I got this running once before on, like, modern, quote-unquote, modern computers, in brackets, modern computers. I don't get it. It just drives me nuts. I don't understand it at all. So that's where video games just, like, that, because there will be a whole percentage of computer games, because that's the thing. It's probably, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up, end up into this time, like, end up getting to this, like, point in computer gaming where even if they don't like acknowledge it directly, we find out that just games cannot be played anymore. The same way on iOS, where I think it was iOS 11 that like broke everything about apps, and they're like, well, game does ship, the publisher of this app has to update the game to support Windows 11, or update the app to support Windows 11. And I'm like, what the heck? Because you know what the stupid thing is? Okay, you want to know the real dumb thing? Okay. I have Zoom Beanies Island Odyssey. I don't know which version of Zoom Beanies this is. There was like multiple apparently. When after I looked it up, I was like, oh, okay. Right? Right? Anyway, I tried running it on a Windows thing once before, and it didn't work. I haven't tried it since, so maybe it'll work. I don't know. But I plug it into my iBook G4 that I picked up, I don't know, in May, I think? Or was it April even? No, I think it was May. And it just worked. First try, first shot. Would you like to install? I'm like, yeah, but it's not going to work, is it, though? And it had the Mac version file. It downloaded, it installed, and then I just, like, it's going into the intro, and I'm like, is this going to work? And then it gets to the beginning of the game, and I'm like, this is just working. What the heck? How stupid is this? And this is an iBook G4. This is not exactly a gaming PC, gaming computer, laptop compatible with lots of games, This just blows my mind. I'm like, what the heck? That worked. I just don't get it. I don't get it. This is just weird. Because I was thinking of getting like a Windows XP laptop, but then I was like, I don't care. All the ones with all the expandability, or the ones like a Windows 98 or 2000 laptop or ME whatever that has all the like expandability ports. All the things I could add like more USB, or I could add through PCIe, that kind of just baffles my mind that like this works, but I looked at those and they hold their value fairly well. I'm like, oh, really? It's like, yes. It's weird. I looked up on eBay and Craigslist, and well, we have Kijiji here in Quebec. I mean, Canada has Kijiji, just all in general. It's the Canadian Craigslist. But if you go to like other parts of Canada, like the western parts, like mid or west, it's very much there's Craigslist. It just because also if you go to like way west, like British Columbia, that's because it's connected very closely to the like the U.S. California. So yeah, that's why they have Craigslist. Anyway, we don't really have Craigslist here. I mean, we do, but nobody really uses it. So it's really Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji that they use. Anyway, I looked up on there. I'm like, they're just really expensive. They're like surprisingly expensive. They hold their value. People want like $100 for them, and I'm like, because whenever somebody says I'm actually fairly cheap, I can get them for fairly cheap, right? And I'm like, what's your definition of fairly cheap? Is fairly cheap to you because you bought it new for X thousands of dollars or X hundreds of dollars? Now it's only $100. That considered cheap to you? Because it's not considered cheap to me. Cheap is when you can buy for $50 or less. That's my definition of cheap. And even $50 to me is a lot for something like that. Because what are they going to say? I was going to say something about. Oh yeah, because like Crayola, right? So I watched a video by Mike Mozart. This is years ago, probably 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago even. I don't even know at this point. I think it was like 2013, so I think it was about 9, 10 years ago. Or maybe even more. Anyway, it was like 8 or 9 to 15 years ago. Anyway, in that range. And I remember he was talking about like Crayola and like how Crayola crayons, you can get just all these cool ones and all these cool different old ones and whatever. And I'm like, these are great. These are cool. These are fantastic. These are really cool. And he's like, oh, okay, give me a second here. Right? And you could like, just a sec. And he claims you can pick it up for cheap, right? And I'm like, yeah, but that depends on your definition of, A depends on your definition of cheap. And B, that's of the, like, then you can pick it up for cheap. Now they think you can get, because everybody, because that's the thing. It wasn't a big, huge thing to think everything's worth money. Because I think it was Wayne who said, which is the guy at Blue Nose, which is the guy who runs Blue Nose down, which is my local game store. And he said something to the effect of, but if you never use it, is it really going to be worth a lot of money? Or is it just going to be, or if everybody has that attitude where oh, I'm not gonna use any of these. Like, because I think he brought up like the thing where these like collectible glasses have come out. Because I can see one right here. It was these like Ninja Turtle glasses, right, that I picked up, and I was like, these are really cool, and they are. They're really cool. I'm gonna pick it up. Oh wow, this is hard to pick up. Wow. Okay. What the heck? Okay, let's continue. Wow. Okay. Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah, I got one in my hand, right? And it's okay. It's one I just picked up Raphael because Raphael's my favorite. Anyway, and I realized these are not well made at all. There's probably a way to coat them. They're like actually nice glasses, like to drink out of. But what's it called? But like the whatever sticker, decal, vinyl, whatever, it just peels off. Because I had one that was like really starting to peel. Like, oh no, don't do that. Bad idea. I don't want to lose them. I don't want to, whatever. And for me at least, I was like, oh, that's so poopy. But then like when he brought up the point of like, because he made the point, he was like, look, okay, if everybody keeps those collectible, quote unquote, collectible glasses in quotations, are they going to be worth anything, or just everybody going to have one, right? So that's the thing. So everybody has that like attitude of like, frig, man. Everybody thinks anything, even remotely old or collectible, is worth money. It's like no. The train, because I've been to train exhibitions, right? Miniature train exhibitions, and like seriously, like everybody there. Now it's not like dirt cheap, but they know they're not going to get thousands of like hundreds and hundreds and thousands of dollars out of these trains. Like I think Pat Condry said in episode of the podcast where like it was either not so completely necessary or not so common podcast because he has his own like solo podcast that the trains are the perfect example of because he's talking about how video games and if you don't get new people into collectible retro video games, it'll just be dead. It'll slowly die. They're the perfect example of they don't bring more people out and they're worth nothing now. He also brings a point of, or very, very little in comparison to what they used to be. And the other one was the Elvis collectors. There was a time when those things were worth, like, big money. Now they're worth, like, nothing. I'm sorry. Like, nobody cares about Elvis stuff. I'm sorry. Nobody cares about Elvis collectibles. You know, everybody in the mom knew at least one person who had an Elvis clock, you know, the hip-swinging Elvis clock. Or that Felix the Cat-looking clock. But that's a different thing. I'm just saying clocks in general. But, yeah. So, no offense to those people, but like that's worth nothing. So like, you gotta lighten up on. Also, swap meets used to be, or slash flea markets used to be the best place to buy things. Anything almost, anything collectible, anything you want to buy, anything you want to pick up, you start collecting. Video games, toys, books, music, movies. But now they think, well, the music and the movies and the books still worth very little because nobody wants DVDs and CDs and books. But the stuff that's quote unquote collectible. It's just like they think it's worth money because Pat Country makes the point of by 2012 when he like that was right when like smartphones were really like about 2012 is when like most people got a smartphone in their pocket, and it wasn't everybody, right? Whereas 2 or 3 or 4 years later, everybody had a smartphone in their pocket. But every like adult who had a job where a smartphone would have been like a smart thing to buy, bought a smartphone, had a smartphone. And so they all look up at eBay like, gone are the days when they like, because I think it was Ian who made the point, he said, gone are the days when you have tables at your, what's it called? At swap meets or flea markets that are just, I need to get rid of everything on this table. The flea market, the yard sale or garage sale mentality of I need to get rid of everything. I don't really care. Just please buy it, basically. And they're kind of dirt cheap, quote unquote. But like it's gone because they're not like, well, that's worth money. Oh, like well, because like the worst thing that I hate, and Pat brings this up all the time. He's like, this is so stupid. It's the whole mentality of that whole mentality of, well, on eBay it's selling for. It's like, stop right there. I don't care what it's selling for on eBay. It can be selling for $1 million in eBay. That's not what it's worth. Because they don't even look at, like, the sold listings. They look at this like, well, it's selling for on eBay. Yeah, one guy's trying to get $1,000 for this Lego head. That's just, like, you're an idiot. Or this book, or this CD, or this movie, or this VHS tape, or this, like, just dumb. I didn't even talk about, like, I didn't even get into, like, the grading of VHS tapes. That's stupid. I'm not going to get into it now. We're going to end the podcast here. I'm just going to say right now, physical things, you've got to look at what people will pay for. Like my dad always makes the point. Things are worth, you break it down far enough, and things are worth what people are willing to pay for it. That value may not really be there in a market, right? In this quote-unquote market, right? In the market of the whole thing. But if one guy is willing to pay $1,000 for your device, your thing, your collectible, your whatever, then it's worth $1,000 to that guy. So, I'm just saying, like, just look at, like, market trends and look at how things sell, look at how things go, and just, base it off of that. Don't base it off of, like, oh, it sold on one auction once for $1 million, for $2 million, whatever. It's like, no, stop, please. That's not necessarily how much it's worth. So, yeah. I think that'll be it for now, guys. I didn't say in the last episode, I forgot, but in this episode I'll say it where there's the Discord, there's the email, which is tacoimposters@gmail.com. There's the 2 Discords. Now I put both Discords in the description now. There's and then there's the Patreon. I had to fix Patreon because something about, like, I screwed something up with, like, tiers and whatnot. I put them in the wrong section. I really don't know how the internet works, really, to be honest with you. But Patreon's one of those, wait, did I do this right? I'm confused. What? So. I think it works, but I don't know if I did it properly, and I might have put them in the wrong section. I don't know. I have to fix that someday. I always put reminders of this stuff, and I never do some of these things. But anyway, yeah. So yeah. If you want to contact me, tell me, anything. Fixing that PS2 would be nice if you know anything about it. That will be on in the description for the 2 Discord servers. Which, yeah, just contact me on either of those. I read messages on both of them. So I think that'll be it for now, guys. So adios, mi amigos.